Hi everyone, welcome back, and here we will be seeing round 2 of the Lincoln, Nebraska League Challenge. This will be a matchup between two masters. On the left is a player named Treynor. Yes, that's his real name, but if you read the description, you'll find that it's not spelt as you might think. You know, Pokemon trainer? No. Although I admit that I made that mistake myself for a while. Sorry, Treynor. Anyway, and on the right is a player named Eli. And here we will be seeing a bit of a matchup between a top-tier deck and a rogue deck. Treynor is playing a Darkrai Yveltal deck, and Eli is playing, well, some kind of a fairy-type deck from what I understand. He was asking around borrowing some fairy Pokemon for this deck. I actually don't know exactly what he played, so as I watch this, I guess I'll be figuring it out alongside you guys. When the results were announced on the group's Facebook page, his deck was entitled LetsFlipHeads.dec. So my guess is that there are a lot of coin flips involved, but anyway, but it's always fun to try out new decks, especially at a place for League Challenge where you actually get the chance to go up against other people with their really high-tier decks and stuff. So, and this is what Eli does a lot. He likes to just try something new, something that people don't usually play, just to see how it works out. So, he's playing that, and Treynor is playing a Darkrai Yveltal deck. I'm not exactly sure what else is in there, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. So, Treynor mulligans. I didn't catch what Eli put down as his basic. But it looks like he has another one. I think he just drew another one. This is another situation where I just set up the camera and then ran off to sit at my table. So I wasn't actually here for this, and by the time I came back, the match was already over. But yeah. So it looks like Treynor runs Hypnotoxic Laser at least, and not a single basic in that either. So he does run lasers, and I think that lasers are a must-have in any Darkrai variant at all. I guess technically Yveltal isn't even a Darkrai variant anymore, it's his own deck, but still, in a Dark-type deck, period, you gotta run laser. Unless you run Garbodor, I guess. Ooh, he drew a Keldeo, hope he pulls something else. Nope, that's it. Keldeo is a very bad start. In fact, this was my, during this, my second, okay, so it looks like he has Minccino on the bench, Eli does. So, Treynor draws for his turn. During my second round, I started with a Keldeo, it got put to sleep with a laser, and it never woke up. And I wouldn't say that that alone cost me the game, but it did give my opponent two prizes that he really needed, and that pretty much guaranteed his win. If I had woken up, it probably would have been a completely different story. I'm not going to call fair play or that it was unfair in any way. It was just annoying. So Eli gets... I'm sorry, a lot happened while I was talking. Treynor attached a DCE to Keldeo, played laser, and passed. Now it's Eli's turn. He plays, I think that's Fairy Garden. He's going to double level ball. He did wake up for his Minccino, though, so he can retreat it if he needs to. He's going to double level ball for Mr. Mime and Swirlix. Romatisse has an ability... I'm sorry, Slurpuff has an ability that works kind of like Virizion EX, where your active Pokemon cannot be asleep. It cannot have any status conditions if it has a Fairy Energy attached. Unfortunately, he cannot get Slurpuff into play this turn, so he cannot get rid of that poison unless he retreats. And since he just... or plays Switch, of course, but... he just attached that Fairy Energy to the benched Minccino. And I guess he asked if he could take it back, because he just moved it up to the active right there. So he used Call for Family, and he's searching his deck right now while Treynor begins his turn. Treynor plays a Tool Scrapper, gets rid of that Muscle Band on the benched Minccino. Eli got another Minccino in play, and Treynor played Colress for 4. Not the best Colress, but it's something. So Eli is just now shuffling his deck for his turn, and Treynor is shuffling his deck for his supporter. If you're not paying attention, and you could just lose track of what's going on at any given point. So, yeah. So Treynor draws his 4 cards. He could really use a Pokemon here, but he did not get it. He could Secret Sword for knockout, and I guess that's what he did. And he got a Professor's Letter. No, it was a Bouffalant off his prizes, so that was something. So Eli promotes a Minccino, draws for his turn, plays Level Ball. If I were him, I would get... Oh, man, I don't know. Chinchino is definitely good because of its ability. If your opponent tries to hit it with attacks, flip a coin. You flip a coin, not your opponent. If heads, that damage, then it doesn't touch Minccino at all. I guess he had a Slurpuff in his hand already because he just evolved it. So now all he needs is a Fairy Energy on Chinchino, and he won't have to worry about Hypnotoxic Laser anymore. So, and on top of that, there's a 50-50 chance that Chinchino won't take any damage, no matter what Pokemon hits it. I'd have to look at the card to make sure that it is only damage and not damage counters, because if it's damage counters, then that goes through the ability, but if it's any kind of damage counters overall, then man, that would be amazing. But I think it's just damage, so anyway. So Eli played a Colress for 3. Definitely not the best Colress. That's probably the least amount of cards one would use a Colress for. I'm having a very hard time seeing how people would want to run Colress for 2 or 1. You could theoretically play Colress for 0. No. Yes. No. I don't know, but even if you could, you would never want to. So he plays a double colorless energy on Chinchino and bicycles for 3. That's something. Now his hand's up to 4. More stuff to work with. Can't see what's in his hand though, but he's going to pass. Treynor could put the Bouffalant on the bench, but he's going to play Professor's Letter first. At this point, he's only played Keldeo for this entire game. Keldeo is in no danger of being knocked out though, so that is nothing to worry about. But I'm trying to remember what Fairy Garden does. I think it's like every Fairy Pokemon doesn't have weakness or something. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with these new stadiums and stuff. But Treynor plays Ultra Ball, puts 2 Darkness Energy in the discard pile. Now he could get another Pokemon into play. If I were him, I'd probably go for the Darkrai here. Yep. That way, Keldeo gets free retreat, and at the same time, he can power up that Darkrai with Dark Patch. There are a lot of different options here. And if you saw at the bottom of his deck, there was a full art of Yveltal. Isn't it pretty? Go back and just look at it if you want. Wow, Treynor actually attaches a double colorless energy to Darkrai. I think it needs 2 darkness and a colorless to attack. I'm pretty sure that is the case. But in any case, Keldeo will retreat. Darkrai is the new active. Actually, I have a Darkrai EX in my deck, which is right beside me. I'll look right now to see what it needs in order to attack. It needs 2 darkness and a colorless, so yeah. So he just rushed in again. It's not often you see a retreat and then a rush in. Usually it's a rush in and retreat. And he put a Dark Patch. Now the Darkrai on the bench is powered up, but he cannot get it back into play this turn unless he plays a switch, which is not in his hand. Ooh, he tried to retreat there. He's trying to retreat there. Yeah, I think Eli's pointing out to him that he already retreated. That is unfortunate. If you're not paying attention, then that's very disturbing. So now he plays an energy switch. Pretty much a big useless. That wasn't a useless or a waste of a turn, but that was still unfortunate. And when you're on the spot like this, you know, this is being recorded. I'm pretty sure that didn't affect their judgment at all, but it's a tad nerve-wracking even on a subconscious level. So Eli attaches a Fairy Energy to Chinchino. Now it cannot be hit by a status condition, and plays in. So they both get 6 prizes. Nope. I'm I am incorrect. Eli gets 6 and Treynor gets 5. So, off of his 5, Treynor gets an Yveltal computer. He gets a lot of stuff. Eli, on the other hand, gets not the best hand, but it's workable. He level balls. Now he has 2 Cinccino in play. And his bench is safe because of that Mr. Mime. I don't know what else is in his hand. I saw Fairy Energy earlier. Not sure what else. Yeah, that's the only thing I can see. And since he already attached for his turn, I think, yeah, then he can't do anything. Treynor, if I were him, I'd put Yveltal on the bench and start powering that up. He has Professor's Letter. I really think he should Professor's Letter for 2 Darkness Energy and then Computer Search them away. He puts the Darkness Energy on Yveltal, but then takes it back and puts it on Darkrai instead. Professor's Letter for 1, 2 Darkness Energy. That might have been all that was in his deck, though. I didn't quite get a good look, but I think that if that was all that was in his deck, that's no big deal because he has Dark Patch and stuff to get it onto his bench. So he Professor's Letter for 2 Darkness Energy, and he could Computer Search or Ultra Ball them away here. Puts a Darkrai on the bench. Excuse me. So, there's a lot of stuff he could do here. He could power up a Yveltal and start doing damage. He could power up another Darkrai. But, yeah, there's really no correct option here. There's a lot of options. The biggest problem right now is that Eli is running a deck full of flips. You know, well, not a lot of flips, but Cinccino's ability is the biggest thing. Any of Treynor's Pokemon can knock it out in one hit, but you need to flip heads. That is a big problem. And he Computer Searched for, I think that was Professor Juniper. So he's going to retreat his Keldeo, promote his Darkrai, and Night Spear. And Eli flipped heads, so Cinccino was not touched. And what's even more amazing is that Cinccino's its attack, Echoed Voice, is now going to do 100 damage instead of 50, because that's part of its attack. During your next turn, this does 50 more damage. It doesn't stack. It doesn't go 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. It just is 50, 100, 100, 100, 100. That's just the way it is. So then Eli puts a double colorless energy on his bench Cinccino and plays in. And it's still hard to say who's on top right now. Treynor's ahead on prizes, but only by 1, and Eli keeps flipping heads for his Cinccinos. So Eli puts another Mr. Mime on the bench. Plays Super Rod, puts a Fairy Energy and Minccino back into his deck. And Treynor still has options. I see a Dark Patch in his hand. He has a Muscle Band. Muscle Band wouldn't do him too much good in this game because all of those Pokemon have 90 HP or less, I think, except for perhaps Slurpuff. I don't know how much that one has. Actually, come to think of it, that's probably my Slurpuff that Eli is playing with. Like I said, he was going around asking for to borrow people's Fairy Energy. Or not Fairy Energy, Fairy Pokemon. And I lent him my Slurpuff. And since this is the only Slurpuff I've seen, it's possible that one's mine. So it's Treynor's turn. He took 100 damage on the Darkrai. It'll be knocked out if he cannot knock out this Cinccino right now. He puts a double colorless energy on a new full art Yveltal on the bench. And Dark Patches a Darkness Energy to it. Now it can do both of its attacks, Evil Ball and Y Cyclone. He could promote it if he wanted. He could promote it and... yeah, he's going to promote it. He could do Y Cyclone, and even if it doesn't knock out the Cinccino, he can still move it to the bench. Or he could still move an energy to the bench, but he goes for Evil Ball. And Eli flips Tails, so that's a knockout on Cinccino. Of course, he's just going to promote a new Cinccino, put a Fairy Energy on it. It's identical to the old one now, except its Echoed Voice is only doing 50 now instead of 100. because it's a brand new Cinccino. So now Eli plays Colress for 7. That's much better Colress. When you're getting, like, I think between 4 and 8 cards is preferable. Any less than that and it's just not worth it, I would probably go 3 but never less. And if there were other options, I would definitely not do it for 3. Any more than 8, and especially late game, you run into the danger of decking yourself out. Of course, any other time during the game, that's fine, but it depends on the situation. If you Colress for 10, then that's almost always a good thing. So he got another Minccino on the bench, and Muscle Band added 20 to that. I was wondering why he was putting 2 dice on the Yveltal. Yveltal takes 70. Next turn it'll take 120, which is enough to knock it out. He needs to knock out this Cinccino here and now. So he's powering up another Yveltal on the bench. It puts Muscle Bands on that and Darkrai. Plays Bicycle for 2. And he gets rid of the Fairy Garden. So I'm not exactly sure what Fairy Garden did. Does it give Fairy Pokemon free retreat? I think, maybe. But anyway, he plays his Verbank City Gym, and here is, if Eli were not playing Slurpuff, then here's where Treynor could potentially win without even attacking, because Cinccino would take 30 in between turns from Poison, and that would knock it out within a span of 3 turns. The problem is Slurpuff is in play, and Cinccino has Fairy Energy on it, so it cannot be poisoned or put to sleep. So Hypnotoxic Laser here is absolutely pointless. He could play it, but it would be absolutely it would not work. So let's see what Treynor does here. He could Evil Ball or Y Cyclone. He's going to Y Cyclone. That would have knocked out Cinccino, but Eli flipped heads. So he's going to move a DCE to the benched Yveltal, because this one's obviously going to get knocked out. And Eli might just take his first 2 prizes here and tie this up. First he's going to Ultra Ball and get another Cinccino in play. This is his 3rd. I used to call it Trollchino. I've heard that the official name for it is Chinchin-Troll. But in any case, Cinccino is a troll. With all the... If you continuously flip heads, then that's absolutely ridiculous. The thing is, if it ever goes onto the bench, then its effects are reset. So its Echoed Voice only does 50 instead of 100 when it goes back to the active spot. People used to do that a lot. Like, if people played Cinccino in their decks, their opponents could get around it by playing Pokemon Catcher. But people don't play Pokemon Catcher anymore. I mean, they do, but not as much. It's not a guarantee to be in every single deck like it used to be. And I don't know if too many people actually played Catcher during this tournament. Of course, no one knew that at the time, but yeah. So Eli played in there. Treynor gets 4 cards, and Eli gets 6. I believe Eli gets 6, yeah. But he is undoubtedly going to knock out this Yveltal this turn, and that'll make it a match. I'm sorry, that'll tie them on prizes. So Treynor gets 4, Eli gets 6. Yep. He is going to put another Minccino on the bench. Those Cinccinos, they just keep coming out of nowhere. He's going to play another Fairy Garden, knock out the Verbank, and Tool Scrapper the 2 Muscle Bands on Yveltal and Darkrai. Ouch. He got a lot of stuff off that end. And he Echoed Voices for knockout. And gets his 2 prizes. Treynor drew a mini Yveltal. He could play that, but yeah, he's going to play that. I was going to say, but he already has one on his bench, but, you know, you can never have enough of Yveltal, I guess. And then he plays Professor Juniper. After putting a double colorless energy on that bench to Yveltal. If I were him, I would hope for a Dark Patch here. Unfortunately, he doesn't run Sable Ice, so any Dark Patch that is in the discard pile is in the discard pile. He cannot get them back. I don't know if... I I personally have not tried out Yveltal decks. I would like to, but, you know, they're $30 right now. Well, I guess they're not 30, but they're way beyond my price range right now. Ask me again on payday, okay? So, I don't know if Sableye works better in Yveltal decks or not. In any case, he's going to retreat his Keldeo, promote his other Yveltal EX. He's going to Y Cyclone, and Eli flips heads. So that Cinccino is safe again. I think it survived dying 2 or 3 times in a row now. I think just twice, but still. That Cinccino should have died 2 turns ago. And it's still alive and still attacking. So now, here's where I was talking about. Eli coalesces for 10. That's a lot of cards, a lot of new resources in his hand. So, he just begins to draw there, and Treynor's like, could I cut? So he reshuffles, and Treynor cuts. So he's going to get 10 new cards here. And that is going to help him out a lot. I see a Cinccino right there. He's going to evolve that other Minccino right now. And then he'll have 3 Cinccinos in play, and all he needs to do is really stall until he knocks out everything, and he has the game. That is how ridiculous Cinccino is. I don't know why he didn't evolve his benched Minccino there. Oh, did he just play it this turn? Anyway, so he puts 120 on that Yveltal EX. Even if Treynor can knock out this Cinccino this turn, the benched Cinccino can still do enough damage to knock it out next turn. Treynor knows this. He's going to promote his mini Yveltal and do Oblivion Wing? No, what am I thinking? The second attack, what is it? I forgot what the second attack is. So Eli flips for the Silk Coat. That's what his ability is, Silk Coat. And there was a bit of a thing there where it bumped against Treynor's hand, and they were trying to decide if that meant if that meant that it stayed or if they had to reflip. And the judge said they had to reflip. But he flipped tails again, so that Cinccino is dead. And now it's Eli's turn. Promotes his new a new Cinccino, evolves his other Minccino into Cinccino, puts a fairy energy on it. And yeah. And now that baby Yveltal has 70 on it. It only has 130 HP. It will be knocked out next turn. Regardless of whether this Cinccino or the other Cinccino knocks it out. And there's really... Right about here, if I were Treynor, I'd be discouraged because those Cinccinos are just living for way too long. So he plays an energy switch, begins to power up that other baby Yveltal. He could definitely send this one up and do damage. If he can knock out this Cinccino this turn, then he is in really good shape. But if he can't, then I think he might be in a bit of trouble. Remember, though, they're not tied on prizes. Treynor's down to 3 prizes. Eli has 4, but they're still very, very close. This game went on for a long time, and there was a lot of flips involved on the Cinccino's end. Treynor, they both played very, very well. They knew their decks. They knew what they had to do. Treynor puts the Darkest Energy onto his Yveltal EX, promotes that. Retreats the Mintney Yveltal and promotes the new Yveltal. And he uses Y Cyclone. Cinccino is still alive because it flipped heads. Now Cinccino knocks out this Yveltal EX. Eli takes 2 prizes. Wow. I don't know who's going to win this. I honestly don't. I completely forgot who won this match. But Eli's now into 2 prizes. Treynor has 3. Treynor has his Keldeo active. Something tells me he's going to retreat it into something else. There's not much that can take a hit. Even if he were to knock out this Minccino, there's still that bench Cinccino to worry about. And Eli might have another Minccino-Cinccino line in his deck, which would really be annoying. So Treynor plays Ultra Ball there. He gets nothing. I didn't get a good look at his deck, but I'm guessing he really didn't have anything there, because if he did, he probably would have gotten it. He needs stuff with fresh HP, and my guess is he doesn't have max potions in his deck. So Eli's looking through Treynor's discard pile. Treynor is trying to decide what to do. If he had one less card, he could have played Bicycle, but he had 5 cards in his hand. You cannot play Bicycle if you have 5 cards in your hand. You have to have 4 or less. So he plays in. He gets 3 cards. Eli gets 2. And the camera angle's a little off, so how many cards they both draw will confirm their prize count, because I'm just going by memory here. I honestly only know as much as you guys do. Some people seem to think that I know everything that goes on behind the scenes. I don't. I only know what the camera records. Eli gets 2, Treynor gets 3. He bicycles for 2. He gets a Verbank in play. My guess is, since he keeps knocking out those Fairy Gardens, he wants those Verbanks out. He wants the Fairy Garden out of play. So Fairy Garden has to be something good. Maybe it's like Fairy don't have weakness or don't have retreat. One of those. So then he plays Tool Scrapper. Gets rid of those muscle bands. That'll help out a lot. He promotes the mini Yveltal with no damage. Yep. And Eli flipped heads. And Treynor flipped tails. Like I said, I don't remember what Yveltal's second attack is. And Eli plays a 3rd Fairy Garden. And Echoed Voice for 100. And now it's Treynor's turn. He doesn't have too much that he can do. He could get another Darkrai powered up, the one without damage, just to try to do stuff later on, but I think he's out of Energy Switch and Dark Patch and energy in his deck. So Eli might just win here based on Chinchino flipping heads. So he's going to promote his mini Yveltal, his second mini Yveltal, and does his second attack, and it looks like Eli flipped tails. So Treynor gets another prize. They're tied for prizes, 2 each. Of course, this Chinchino is just going to do Echoed Voice, and even 50 damage right now will not knock out that Yveltal. Wow. I just did the math. It did not. That Yveltal has 10 HP left, and because of that, Treynor has a chance. If he can knock out this Chinchino, then he's down to 1 prize, and nothing on his bench can take a hit from his Pokemon. So he's going to promote his other mini Yveltal and use the attack and tails. Chinchino's knocked out. Treynor's down to 1 prize. Eli promotes his Slurpuff and concedes. That's the game. Wow, what a game. He had a Regigigas prize. That's unfortunate. But man, you guys can see even rogue decks can perform beyond expectations at a tournament like this. That is absolutely amazing. I honestly, if Eli had flipped heads there on that last Chinchino, I honestly think Treynor would have lost. Of course, I don't know that for sure. There might have been some tricks up his sleeve, but man, you saw how close it got. Yeah, I'm very glad that I got to record this match. And anyways, that about does it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I'll be uploading more rounds later on this week. Thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned for more.